Views and opinions expressed on this show are solely those of the host and guests and do not express the views or opinions of any of their employers or affiliates.
Hi, I'm RiTika Rose. Welcome to Awaken Your Truth, where I bring conscious dialogues and stories that will help you free your mind, heal your life, and embody your power. I hope to shift your perspective and create deeper understanding of yourself and others. Everyone has a story, everyone has a purpose, every experience has a reason. This show is about engaging with the truth of who you are, discovering your personal power and stepping into your authentic self so you can have more compassion and empathy for yourself and everyone around you. It's time for us to dig deep and learn to see ourselves and others with clarity so that we can come together and create a brighter future for humanity. When we free our minds, we can heal our lives, and this is how we build a powerful, transformed world. Awaken Your Truth starts now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Awaken Your Truth with me, RiTika Rose, where I bring conscious dialogues that free your mind, heal your life, and embody your power. Today, I'm so excited to welcome my guest, Kate MacKinnon, who is a Feng Shui expert and the owner of Creative Feng Shui. Kate and I have known each other for quite a while, and I brought to her attention that April was Feng Shui Awareness Month, and so this show is always about bringing new information and perspective that will enlighten your minds and bring healing to you in a different way. So I asked Kate if she would like to be on the show to share about Feng Shui this month. And thank you for sponsoring the show today, Kate, as well. And we're going to be talking about your Power Hour offer. So again, welcome to the Power of Feng Shui for health, peace, and prosperity. And I'm going to introduce Kate to you all now. Kate is the owner of Creative Feng Shui and is a certified Feng Shui practitioner. She combines Eastern practice of Feng Shui with the Western aesthetic to create home and office spaces of elegance and beauty that also transform lives. Perfect for Transformation Talk Radio. Thank you, Kate. Since 2001, she has consulted for businesses and individuals all over the country and most recently the world. Amazing. Before transitioning into a full-time career as a Feng Shui expert, Kate was a vice president of JP Morgan Chase and Company in human resources, technology, and had her own management technology consulting business, KRM Consulting Company Incorporated, providing technology and training consulting services to Fortune 100 companies, as well as small businesses. Kate has also been featured in interviews by thought leaders such as Gabby Bernstein, amazing. She has hosted her courses on a global scale and has given talks on prestigious stages such as TEDx, also amazing, Kate. Kate's purpose is to create peace and abundance by transforming spaces, conversations, and thinking, helping people to step into their power and greatness to make a difference in the world. Kate uses Feng Shui's power to illuminate and inspire women to step into their power and greatness to live a life of beauty, grace, dignity, and impact at any age. You can find her inspiring talk on women, aging, and visibility on TED.com. Welcome, Kate. We're so excited to have you. And I'm so excited for you to share the knowledge of how we can awaken our truth through Feng Shui to bring more of the peace that's available to us through the power of Feng Shui. So thank you so much for being here, and tell us a little bit more about Feng Shui, how it works, and how Feng Shui found you. You went from being a vice president at JP Morgan Chase in one of their divisions to now stepping into Feng Shui full time. So we'd love to hear your story of how Feng Shui found you, how you discovered it, or as you say, how it discovered you, and how you transitioned into this role as a Feng Shui expert.
Oh, RiTika, thank you so much, first of all, for that lovely introduction and being here. And I'm thrilled to be here and be with everybody and really share about my passion for Feng Shui. And really, I love that we're talking about Awaken Your Truth, because Feng Shui really is all about that, and ultimately bringing peace, which is the ultimate for me of health and healing. So I think it's so important. So I love to tell my story, because I really was not even aware. So I say I've been doing it for 20 years. I didn't know about Feng Shui until about a year before I studied it. It was one of those things that came to me, and I just knew that this was really my calling. So going back a little bit in time, you know, I was thinking about this because I always share this because I think it's really telling about the times also that we live in now. So when you know, when I went to college, I wanted to be an interior decorator.
Oh, lovely.
And yeah, and I was an artist and I did lots of art things and projects, and I was always crafts and, you know.
Everybody, that's her artwork behind Kate, by the way.
That is, yes, it's a painting on silk, which I got into. Thank you. And so my parents said to me that they wanted me to go to a liberal arts school and get an education and do art on the side. They didn't want me to be a starving artist. And so I did that. And when I went to college, it's like, you know, pick something. And I picked being a psychologist. I studied psychology. And I thought I either wanted to be a psychologist or dean when I graduated college. And at that time, technology as we know it didn't exist. So this was in the 70s. And it was a time of great transformation, you know, like, you know, Title IX, all these things that were happening in that time, feminism, and I was very much a part of all of that. And so I wanted to come to New York. I wanted to see about going to school, graduate school, and I got a job at Barnard College in their admissions office. And and I started as a receptionist, and that particular position, they wanted to automate the freshman and transfer process. And they brought in this like huge console, like it was huge, you know, huge, it was a word processor with like a little screen and huge console, and they put in the back, and they made me the backup operator. And I discovered that I had an aptitude for technology. I mean, they put me on the back. I loved it. I loved creating things. I got like the 3D of all that. And so they took the woman who was the primary person, took me off the receptionist desk. And I say, everything I ever learned about technology was in that first job, which was incredible. So I learned something about myself, talk about transformation.
Right.
And I discovered when I moved to New York that there was this thing called commercial art. And so I was a studio artist, right? Painting and sculpting and, you know, jewelry making, all that stuff. That I decided to explore graphic arts. And so I wanted to go to Parsons. They said yes, but I couldn't afford it. So I took courses and I became a graphic artist. And I freelanced then as a technologist and graphic artist. Anyways, long story short, my career in technology took off. I had a boss who said, you know, people are hiring people like you. And at that time, I looked for a job in technology. Felt like it was that feeling of I sold myself out on the art side to go with the technology. But at that time, I got hired by JP Morgan Chase, and this is over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had a great career, great career. I mean, it was great. And then during that time while I was at Chase, I got downsized. I started my own company. Chase hired me back. Anyways, long story short, there was always this part of me that felt like the artist's spiritual side was missing. So I had this great career, lots of success, lots of promotion. And so in 1999, I was working with a coach, and she asked me this question. She said, what'd you think about at 7 when you went to sleep at night? And I said, rearranging people's homes and buying furniture for my best friend's dollhouse. And she said, have you ever heard of Feng Shui? And I had not. So that was in 1999. And I was planning a very big business trip to Hong Kong. And she said, when you go, why don't you take a bus tour of Hong Kong? Which I did. And I took that bus tour, and I just got Feng Shui. So I always say that I saw the home of Hong Kong through the eyes of Feng Shui. And I couldn't wait to come back and find out where I could study. Of course, there weren't a lot of courses available at that time, but I found the school of His Holiness Grand Master, Professor Lin Yun, who had a school here. He brought Feng Shui, the school of Feng Shui he taught, to the West. And so I got to learn from him, and also the people who had learned directly from him. And I found what I was looking for. I just knew that this was it.
That's amazing. So what I'd love for you to share with the audience now is a little bit, so what exactly is Feng Shui? And what do you feel like is misunderstood about Feng Shui, so we can understand more deeply about, you know, the healing aspects of Feng Shui and what it really is? I know it, most people think, oh, you know, you place your bed here, or, you know, you put a certain something in your bedroom here to rearrange it, or, you know, change the energy around or what have you. But I know it's much deeper than that. And if you can share a little bit of the history of Feng Shui, how it started, and, you know, where it began, and really, you know, how it, what are the spiritual aspects of it, and how does it help us heal? How does it help us to
Yeah.
free our mind and bring health and healing and peace into our lives?
Yeah. No, I love that. So feng shui, as you say, a lot of people think they know what it is, but there's a whole other level to it. So feng shui is the definition, at a high level. Feng shui is the art and science of creating balance and flow in one space to create harmony, is really what it is. And on a literal level, feng shui stands for wind, water, which are really the two most basic elements of life. And so feng shui is all about balancing the chi energy, the life force energy. And it started 5,000 years ago in China, and it was first used to select land good for homes and farms, where it was an abundance of food, abundance of light, abundance of water, all the things to sustain and support life and protect people. So there was this whole aspect about feeling safe. So that's a very important part of feng shui. So I always say that on a practical level, what we are when we're thinking about feng shui is rearranging the space of our environment, but it goes so much deeper than you can imagine, because who you are and the choices you make in your environment have an impact on you. Because feng shui, actually at its deepest level, is it's like a map of reflecting what's going on internally, and that gets expressed externally, and
So
then
that's
that
fascinating.
impacts us.
So it seems like actually Feng Shui is very personal. It's not generalized that every bed should be positioned this way, or every table should be positioned this way, or everybody should have this in their room. It's really based on a personal level, the energy that you hold and what we need to shift energetically in our own space. Am I hearing that correctly?
Well, there's two parts. So those are the principles of feng shui that when I work with people, we apply those to people's space. But to your point, I always say, we're working with the energy of the person in the space, in the lot, in the city, in the town, in the world. So it starts from someone's energy. So I can feng shui a space without somebody living in it, but really what we're doing is feng shuiing it for them and balancing their energy in that space. So to your point, that's how we do it. So there are things that I would do with anybody, but the rest of it is specific to them. So I always say it's not a cookie cutter thing.
Right.
There are things that you can do that are feng shui correct, and then there are things specific to you. And that's when we get into the creating the balance and flow and creating peace within, not just in the space, but within the person.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right. That's amazing. And I'd like to just introduce Kate's Power Hour that we are supporting her with today. So if anyone is really interested in diving deeper into their own energy, their own energetic space, and wanting to learn how to open things up for themselves to create more peace in their environment, create more peace within themselves, please contact Kate for her Power Hour bonus special that she's offering today. I think it would be really beneficial and transformative to everything that Kate does is about transformation and helping you to find more peace in your environment and in your own personal world, and then therefore out into the world. And I love Kate's message about bringing peace within. And once we have peace within, we can bring more peace out to the world. So please take a look at Kate's offer of the Power Hour with her. And Kate, do you want to share anything about that before we go to commercial break? And when we come back from commercial break, I'd like for you to share an example of a client that, any client story that you feel is pertinent and supportive to the audience of how Feng Shui and how the Power Hour has supported them in opening up their energetic space and finding more peace within their world. Any quick thoughts before we go to commercial break?
Yeah, just very quickly, I do whole homes, I do whole home spaces, renovations, all that stuff. But what I learned is that I can work with people in an hour, right? Literally an hour, and there's a way that I do it, so we get really focused, really laser. And I usually say Power Hour, it can be one room, one space, or if there's an area that you just feel isn't working, isn't blocked, and you need help with, that in that time we can cause transformation. It's really, really powerful. And so that's why I created that. So people aren't really sure about wanting to do their own home, or they just know they have an area they want to work in. It's an opportunity to actually have the experience. And like you say, it's not cookie cutter. It's really designed
It's very
for
personal,
them.
right?
It's very personal.
So
very
whether it's
personal.
their home or their office or what have you, they can call you
Exactly.
and contact you for you to support them through the Power Hour. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kate. Yeah, we look forward to hearing a client example when we come back from commercial break, and to talk more about Feng Shui and how it can support us in finding more peace within ourselves and more harmony and balance. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be right back. Tagged You're It takes you on a journey of 8 life mastery skills that will help you step into your power and become the leader of your own life. Inspiring, real, insightful, and therapeutic, the pages help you discover deeper awareness, understanding, and relationship with yourself and others. Give yourself permission to live life through your authentic self. These steps can be used in your personal, professional, and social life. Order your copy now on Amazon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Awaken Your Truth with me, RiTika Rose, and my very special guest, Kate MacKinnon, our Feng Shui expert. We are so excited to have you here, and we'd like to now really jump into talking about how Feng Shui helps our health and wellness. At the core, you say that Feng Shui is really about supporting health and wellness. So, Kate, talk to us about that a little bit. Talk to us about the core areas of health and wellness of Feng Shui. And then please share with us maybe your personal experience with how Feng Shui supported your health and wellness, and also a client story, and that the audience can understand, and they can understand more about your Power Hour as well. So.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Yeah. So it's true. I always say at the core, of course, without health, we have nothing. And Feng Shui is absolutely all about health and wellness. And if you envision this, we look at 9 areas of life, and we have what we call a bagua, which is a compass that we use to overlay people's land, people's homes. It could be a room, it could be a desk. I mean, we use it to analyze space. And so it's one of the tools of Feng Shui, but one of the areas, there are 9 areas. Health is at the center. And that says everything to me, because as we say, without health, we have nothing. And so everything that we're doing in balancing energy is really looking to create a positive flow of energy in one's home that supports us in our well-being, and ultimately reducing stress. And stress is one of the greatest causes of illness. And so a lot of what we do is creating that peace and flow, where people actually, I've had experience where people come to me and they have Epstein-Barr syndrome. I mean, they have autoimmune deficiency, and they have like things that are serious illnesses, serious depression. And through the work we do, it actually transforms that. And people, have absolutely, it's really incredible. So, just stepping back a little bit, I always talk about there's 3 pillars in Feng Shui. We look at, in the homes, we look at how energy, or really any place, how energy enters your home. And this is really important because we call it the mouth of Qi. So if you think about it, energy is alive in Feng Shui. Energy is alive, but in Feng Shui, it's just very alive, and we're
everything
really
is
clear.
Energy. Yeah,
everything is energy, exactly. And so how energy actually enters the main entrance to a space is really important. And I always say,
so when you say that, you're talking about the entry of the home or the entry of the office space, etc.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it could be the building, it could be the office, at home. It's the front door. So there may be
At the front
many
door.
doors, but we always say the main entrance is how energy enters a home. And we call it the mouth of chi. And I always like to use this. If you think about how and it's never been more important than, we've seen it with some of the health issues we've had in the world, that how energy enters and how we breathe, right? The
Uh-huh.
importance of breath. When we look at someone's interest, we want to make sure that the energy, first of all, the energy can find the home. Is it well identified? Is it well lit up?
Mhm.
And then when you open the doorway, how easy it for the energy to enter into the space, or does it get stopped? Because a lot of times I've worked with people where they have kids and they have strollers and they have all this stuff and they have the garbage,
Right.
so like at the front door.
It's
That's
the
blocked
clutter. Clutter
energy.
blocks energy. I mean, I've
Exactly.
heard
It's
that
like,
many times through energy work, right? Yeah. Hmm.
exactly right. So clutter blocks energy. So we're always looking at how energy flows. And then in the space, is there a sense of flow where it comes into the home? And again, there's more clutter, or there's spaces where it's just the way people design their furniture, where it's very blocked in one area,
Hmm.
however they arrange it, and the energy just stops. And
Hmm.
so how people experience it. So this is really important too, is that we, whether we know it or all, or whether we know it or not, we're affected by energy. We are energy, we're affected by energy. And so if there's blocked energy internally, we feel blocked, and then generally it's a place that we then don't want to go to.
Right.
Right. It's like, that doesn't feel good. I'm not going there. I'm not looking there. I'm not opening that closet, not going in that drawer, because there's something in there that's blocked energy.
Right.
And so we look at things like that. So
Can
the
you
other
give us
two
an
play.
example of a client that you've worked with, or even for yourself, where you've been able to support? I know there's two other main areas, the kitchen and the bedroom, which we will get into as well. But I think it is important for you to share an example of how you've worked with someone to open up that energetics, maybe a health condition that they were having, that then through the Feng Shui work that you did, or through your power hour work that you did, how it helped to open up and really improve their health, reduce their stress, and in turn increase more peace into their lives. Do you have an example of
Yeah.
that you can share?
Oh, absolutely. I have a woman I worked with who called, and for lots of reasons, she felt oppressed in her home, and she had an autoimmune deficiency, and there were other things. There was like health issues with her family. So it wasn't, so when someone calls me, it may not just be them, but it's like members of their family.
Right.
And two things happened just in terms of the entryway. They had if you can picture this, they had a couple dogs that were roaming loose. So when I came to the house, the dog came right up to my door and was like, bark, 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 and wouldn't even let me out of the car. And I was like, well, this is a problem. Just get the metaphor of that. Like,
Right.
I couldn't even get out of the door to get into her house.
Right.
And so we looked at that, and then we came in, and it was a little narrow doorway and then out. So again, it's like a breathing passage. It's like
Mm.
this little narrow in and then out. So we do things in feng shui where we expand narrow areas, things like the dog. We say the dog could be, basically we came up with a solution where the dog was actually in it with an invisible fence. There were two of them in the backyard, not greeting somebody at the front.
Right.
Because it also, if you think about it, money can't come in the door, good health can't come in the door, and it really was impacting them. And so we did that, but we also expanded the entryway. There wasn't a lot of clutter. It was just really narrow, and then it came into the house. And then if there's stairs on the other side, it's just the energy's going up instead of into the house. So we adjusted the energy in her home, and it started with the entryway.
Mm-hmm.
There were low beams, so she felt oppressed by the beams of the
Mm.
house. And so there were all these things that we energized and expanded. And long story short, her health improved, her daughter's health improved. They decided she really wanted to move, and her family didn't want to move, and she went away for a holiday with her family. And her husband and kids stayed home. And when they came back, they said, we're ready to move. So the energy shifted.
Right.
They didn't have to have the conversation. They were affected, and everybody agreed it was not the right place for them. And they ended up moving. And there were lots of other things, but that was like probably one of the most basic things that we worked on to shift the energy and just focus in on that to start. It was very
And was
powerful.
that within the power hour?
We did, well, that was not enough. She had me do a full one, but we did that initial work. That was like the first step of many things that we did. And it was very targeted and very focused the way we do a power hour. So it's one of the first parts of any session I would do with somebody, though.
Excellent. And I know, so thank you for sharing that example. I think that was just really important. I know there's two more areas, the kitchen and the bedroom, that we've talked about, that are the other main areas that Feng Shui sort of focuses on. Maybe you can talk a little bit about like office spaces and buildings too. I know in the home, entry, kitchen, bedroom, and how about offices and buildings? Because I know you do a lot of corporate work as well. And so I think for our clients that are corporate clients that are listening, it would be important for them to know how your work could support their office spaces or their buildings that they work in.
I love it, because this one was one of my first power hours, and it was really powerful. So I had a person who was in commercial real estate call me, and he was trying to sell 2 buildings, and he was really frustrated because deals weren't coming in the door. And so he called me up, and literally it was his lunch hour. He said, I have to have you come to my office. So I work nearby.
That was
so
a win-win power hour.
Oh, it's a win-win power hour. I said, could you come now? It was like, oh. And so I said, yeah, I could come. And so I got there, and he had an office that he shared with his business partner. And literally we walked in the door, and I could see he had a big filing cabinet blocking the entry of the doorway. So that was and it was over to the side, but it was just creating this big blocked energy into the doorway. And his big issue was, I want the deals to come in. I don't want the people to come in who are the maintenance people or looking for the receptionist. And his partner was one of the owners of the building. And so he wanted the maintenance people to go to left, and then the deal to come to the right, which is where he was sitting. And so we moved in that time, we moved the filing cabinet. I put some plants artfully so that it would sort of hide him a little bit, but direct people towards his business partner, who was sitting in an L shape to the left. And we rearranged his desk so that it was designed to call in the deals, but to keep out any bad energy. And so it was really interesting how we did that. And within a very short period of time, he got the deal to sell his buildings. It became a deal of a lifetime for everybody. I mean, it really made everybody millionaires. And that was just taking his office and making those changes in a very short period of time. Very, very powerful.
That's amazing. I thank you so much for these examples. I think they're really powerful to hear, and to help us understand really what Feng Shui can do to support so many areas of our life, right? And so when we come back after commercial break, we'll also tap into, the key areas of life that Feng Shui supports. We talk about relationships, wealth, and health, right? So we'll step into that a little bit. This example that you just shared, I think, was very pertinent to that, to how it supported business and wealth. But when we come back from commercial break, we'll talk more about that. But Kate, before we do that, could you share with the audience how they can contact you for your Power Hour bonus special today?
Oh, absolutely. So if you contact, if you see on the banner, it's my website, which is Kate-MacKinnon, MacKinnon.com / bonus power hour. I think I have that right. Yes, sorry. I wanted to check, make sure I was saying that correctly. That will allow them to sign up. And, I ask a bunch of questions, allow them to sign up, and then it will schedule time, and we'll have an hour. And actually what I've designed it so that I'm also adding an extra half an hour. So we'll have the hour, but we'll be able to have follow-up. So I think that's always really important too, to not just say we're doing it in an hour, but then once they've made the adjustments, we can follow up and see where they are and make any final adjustments, allows questions, and really gives them really 90 minutes of my time, and just focus in on what they're working on.
I think that's really wonderful. I think there's the extra support after the session's done, just to make sure everything's working, make sure everything's flowing the way that, you know, they were hoping for, and just getting your extra support and guidance after the session too. It's so important to have that afterwards. So thank you. Thank you for your offer. Thank you for the extra time you're going to spend with those that sign up with you. And we look forward to talking about Feng Shui, health, wealth, and relationships when we come back after commercial break. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back real soon. Tagged Your It takes you on a journey of 8 life mastery skills that will help you step into your power and become the leader of your own life. Inspiring, real, insightful, and therapeutic, the pages help you discover deeper awareness, understanding, and relationship with yourself and others. Give yourself permission to live life through your authentic self. These steps can be used in your personal, professional, and social life. Order your copy now on Amazon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Awaken Your Truth with me, RiTika Rose, and my special guest today, Kate MacKinnon, our Feng Shui expert. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all the knowledge and wisdom you've shared with us so far. I can just see how your work is so transformative to the people that come your way, for you to support their homes and their corporate offices and their personal spaces. So thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for being a beacon of peace and transformation in this world through energy work and through Feng Shui. I'm so happy to have you here. So 3 important areas of life that everyone always considers: relationship, health, and wealth. Right? Probably when anyone's seeking out support or help in any aspect of their life, these are one of these 3 areas is typically what comes up for somebody. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Right. So please talk to us about how the power of Feng Shui can support these 3 areas as a whole, combined holistically, or maybe even individually. And maybe also tap into a little bit of, I love how you have Feng Shui on the go. So, and into the segment, we can talk about that a little bit, you know, not just coming into someone's home or business space to open up the energy and shift things around, but how can we use Feng Shui on the go if we don't have you here with us or in our home or in our office space? Any tips that we can use on a daily basis to keep our Feng Shui aligned for these areas as we're just moving along in the world?
I love that. Well, I always love to share this because it makes me laugh. I heard this early on. It's like, you know, this, to your point, the 3 topics that people are most interested in are, as you say, relationships, money, and health. And we always call it honey, money, and health. And relationships are almost always, you know, if we had to prioritize them, the most important. People, you know, in the home certainly, but you know, I've done business events where I talk about business, and then the first question is, can we talk about my home and my bedroom? so I'm going to start there with we associate the bedroom with relationships, and it doesn't. There are areas.
Can I say one thing before we jump in, because it could be relationship to self or relationship with your partners, right?
Right. So relationship, when we look at, for instance, one of the areas of life that we talk about is relationships. We talk about that area as partnership, and that can be partnership with, you know, an intimate relationship, or it can be business partnership if you're doing from the business perspective. And then we always, probably the most important thing is our relationship with ourselves, which is part of what Feng Shui is about. It's like I spend a lot of time with people when I work with them, is really helping them have voice of who they are, have a relationship with themselves, and they're creating that in their space by the work we do with Feng Shui. They're creating an environment that supports who they are and creates that relationship. So the bedroom is really important. So a couple of quick things about the bedroom is, and this is going to tie into Feng Shui on the go, is, you know, we look at things like where we do look to your point earlier, is like we do look at like where is the best place to place the bed. And I'm going to talk very quickly about that the best position for a bed is it's got a wall behind it, it's looking towards a doorway, but you're not in the doorway. So of course, all this is relational to someone's space, but really we have it so that somebody has their support, their sleeping is, in terms of health, their sleeping is really important. Having a good mattress, having a solid bed with a headboard that's attached, a solid frame. We look at things like that. It's so, so important. And then inside of that, we create balance for a relationship. And we say, having matching end tables, having matching lamps, like creating a beautiful place to invite in, you know, if you're looking for love, for instance, to have something that's inviting, for yourself to have a bed that feels inviting and that supports you in your sleep. All those things are really important for self-care and health and well-being. And one of the reasons why we say bedroom is one of the other of the three pillars, because sleep is everything, right? Like it's so important to get a good night's sleep. So the other thing we say is don't put clutter under your bed, like make sure the energy under your bed is clear, because all those things energetically impact you and your sleep. And so it's really important both for health and wellness and then for intimacy. And the final thing I'll say about bedroom is we don't recommend having electromagnetic things in the space, or if they are, like they're far away, like if you have an electronic clock. But people like to bring TVs into their bedroom. We don't recommend it in Feng Shui because of the electromagnetic energy, but also from a relationship perspective. You know, we encourage people, if they're, you know, a couple being in bed and it's about being together and intimate as opposed to being about the TV. So that's the bedroom. That's really powerful. And then the money, you know, we talked a little bit about in the workspace is, and I'm going to tie in money again, the example I gave of the client I had where the dog was in her yard and sort of blocking money energy, you know, entering the space. It's so important from an entrance perspective, but also, believe it or not, the kitchen. The kitchen, so that's the third pillar. The kitchen in the Chinese culture is all about health and wellness. And the more people you can feed, the idea is, you know, have a clean stove, be able to, all the burners are working, have it. And if you don't cook, like just turning them on once in a while, but the stove is like the generator, if you will. It's the fire, but it's the generator of health and wealth. The idea being that you're feeding yourself, you'll be able to feed your family and friends, which is both taking care of yourself and creating wealth and abundance. So it's a very interesting thing about the kitchen. It's very important for both those reasons. And then the final thing is, well, both of them actually include health. That I look at this sort of going back to what you were saying, clutter is, you know, as we said, the greatest cause for stress. So again, clutter is a big problem for homes and workspaces. And so we have all kinds of things that we do to look at how do you reduce clutter? How do you remove clutter? How do you organize your space, for instance, your workspace, so that you don't have clutter? All those things contribute to your health and wellness, reduce stress, and create peace. So just a couple of, you know, quick things for each one of those to give you an idea of what we look at.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for those tips. How about, well, this was interesting when I was listening to you speak right now about the kitchen and how you said that food, not, and I can totally understand food on the health aspect, but can you explain a little bit about food on the wealth aspect? Because that was interesting for me to hear.
Yeah. So in the Chinese culture, the more people you can feed, the better. And actually, I'm going to add something people can do is the idea is you have burners at work, you can cook, even if you're just feeding your family, but you know, the idea is you have your friends and family being able to cook and feed people. That's associated with abundance. The idea of taking care of your family, but also like having company, having lots of people. And we have this tool we use. Not everybody does it, but if you put a mirror on the wall behind your stove that reflects your burners, they multiply the burners. And so instead of having 4 burners, you then have 8. Again, that's another way to increase your wealth and prosperity and abundance. by using your kitchen. So these are some of the things that we use to enhance basically the opportunity to be able to feed your family, take care of yourself. And the other thing is, by feeding in the same way you get a good night's sleep, you take care of yourself. Health and well-being allows you to go out into the world and, of course, generate an income.
That's amazing. So I'm sort of tying it into the giving and receiving energy. The more that you can give, the more that you can receive back.
Yes, I love that. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Whether it's health or wealth or relationship status. So whether it's love from friends, love from your partner, company, etc. Right.
Yes.
Like
I love
giving
that.
energy it opens up to receive back.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Abundance is many things. It's not just, as you're saying, it's not just money. It's a wealth of many things, including the people in your life, the love, your health and wellness.
So let's talk now again about your Power Hour and how it can support people with their health and wellness. What would you like to say about your Power Hour and helping people with their overall health and wellness, and how it can support them with their relationships, their wealth, and their health?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things that, again, from a Power Hour is helping people with their bedrooms. So, I touched on some things, but I find that, the areas that I work with most with people in their home, if we're just zeroing in, is the bed. It's the entryway that we talked about earlier. It's the bedroom, and it's also, in this day and age with more and more people working at home, creating a space to support them working at home is so important, as well as working in the office. And what I didn't get into is, I spent a lot of time during COVID working with families remotely, having kids at home.
Yeah.
To both partners working at home, and how do you balance all of that? So I have people still coming to me and wanting to, in the Power Hours, a lot of it's about creating an environment at home. They're either working at home or they're working hybrid and they want to work at home, but they're in the office, and looking at their work office, looking at their home office, and then how to work in both areas.
That's
very,
great.
very important.
So important. Thank you for bringing that up. And that was something at the beginning of the segment I was thinking about that I really wanted you to talk about, because right now, so many more people are working from home. And that, I think this is going to be a trend going forward. Right. So I know that you've done a lot of corporate work, and you go into the offices, and you also go into people's homes. But now that people are working from home, it's their home and their office. So I think that really contacting you for your Power Hour session, and having these conversations with you, especially right now in this day and age, in this particular moment in time that we're living, is going to be so important, because I really do feel there's probably a lot of choked up energy, a lot of energy that people aren't understanding, because so many things have shifted in maybe a way that they don't fully understand, and they'd like to feel a little bit more free. Right? Or how can they feel more free? Or how can they find more peace? Right? And I think that working with you and having this Power Hour session with you can be so transformative to those that are now making different decisions about where they work and how their home life is looking.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, it really is. The people that are coming in that I'm doing these laser sessions, most of them are in the office. And I have many, many examples of being able to, like, really just, it's transformative to just have the right setup. And it may not be a desk. It may be you have to work in the dining room. How do you do that?
Right.
And honestly, the family that I was just talking about, it saved a marriage, by the way. The work we did saved a marriage. It was clear to me that there was divorce in the air, and it was really intense. And it focused on both people working at home and having children. And so this stuff is so important on so many levels. And ultimately, to feel empowered, right?
Absolutely.
To feel empowered in what you do wherever you work. And I just want to quickly tie in that the kind of things that I teach people how to do in terms of their own home, when we say on the go, these are things that people can take, whether, I had an example where we had a power outage and I had to go to Panera to work. I can go someplace and use everything that I use in my work environment at home on the go. I have a friend who traveled cross country in a van on the go. Like, she was able to set her van up so that she worked with all the principles that we learned traveling cross country with her family, hotels, all the many ways that it can be used. And it's really powerful. And I like to say that it's like when I work with people, I teach them so that I'm not just telling them what to do, I'm teaching them what they're doing so that they can then apply that to other areas in their life, which I think is really powerful.
It is so powerful. And we're going to talk about the empowerment of, or embodying the power really of peace within in our last and final segment. But one thing I heard you say that was really important that I'd really want to touch on with the audience about your power hour is that even though somebody comes to you maybe for one particular reason or one particular room to focus on in the hour, there's so much more that is entailed energetically within that room or within that hour that, like you said, saved a marriage that potentially they may not know about, that is going to come up in the session, that's going to also open up and heal and bring more peace to other areas of their life, not just maybe the one room or the one situation that they're coming to you for, right? And I think that that's really powerful.
Yeah,
right, because a lot of times people don't understand or don't see it for themselves, all the other areas in life that might be stuck because of one particular reason that they may be thinking about, right? And then when you do the work with them, then so much else opens up, all those aha moments about, oh, this is also what's happening energetically because of X, Y, and Z. And once you work with them to shift different spaces, how everything else opens up. We do need to go to commercial break, but we can talk a little bit more about that when we come back, and just really embodying the power of Feng Shui on the go, right?
Yep.
And everything that we can learn from you within your power hour. So thank you so much, Kate, again for being here. Thank you, audience, for listening. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Tagged Your It takes you on a journey of 8 life mastery skills that will help you step into your power and become the leader of your own life. Inspiring, real, insightful, and therapeutic, the pages help you discover deeper awareness, understanding, and relationship with yourself and others. Give yourself permission to live life through your authentic self. These steps can be used in your personal, professional, and social life. Order your copy now on Amazon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Awaken Your Truth with me, RiTika Rose, and our special guest today, Kate MacKinnon, our Feng Shui expert, Feng Shui Awareness Month. And we are now going to talk about, in our last segment, embodying the power of peace within, peace without, and peace everywhere, which is something that Kate talks about often in her work. So I wanted to share that, but the importance of Feng Shui being a mirror of our inner and outer worlds, which is very powerful to understand. So Kate, I'm going to just let you roll with this, and the importance of understanding how Feng Shui is a mirror for us and what's happening in our worlds internally and externally.
Yeah, I love that. And it ties back into the first segment where it said, sort of Feng Shui happens at a much deeper level, and that it is a reflection of our inner choices. It's a map of who we are. And I love this quote from Carl Jung, the Swiss psychoanalyst, that our homes are a symbolic mirror of our inner emotions, our inner and unconscious emotions. And so the choices we make on the exterior are really reflecting things that are going on in the interior. And I always like to say this, that when I work with people, I listen for everything they say, because they always have the clues. And so in many ways, Feng Shui is very literal. And so they may say something that tells me, oh, this is what's really going on. And so I can see where it actually shows up in their space and adjust it. And I'm going to give a quick story of a woman who wanted to, was looking for the love of her life, and beautiful, she's an actress, beautiful, walking around, and we walk into her kitchen and it's filled with cactus, right? Cacti, filled with it, even the little magnets. And I looked and I thought, maybe she's a little prickly. And so I said to her, I pointed out, I said, your you're looking for a relationship. I said, but your kitchen is filled with prickly plants. I said, maybe you're a little prickly.
Yeah.
She instantly saw in that her inner way of being, which was actually part of what was causing the problem of having a relationship. So I look for those metaphors in people's space, and then I get to mirror it back so they can see in their external space. And what I say is Feng Shui is like acupuncture of the soul. So we have these meridian lines. And so what I'm doing is adjusting what's in the external environment is actually adjusting what's going on internally. And ultimately, and I always get chills when I say this, ultimately, the work we're doing is bringing people into alignment with their true self. And I always say we're bringing them home to themselves. It's like their North Star. We're bringing them home to their true self. And so as we're adjusting externally, they're getting adjusted internally. And, you know, people will go through shifts and sometimes it doesn't feel comfortable or they don't want to do it, but ultimately that's where they end up. And that's the peace, right? We get that sense of inner peace being in alignment with who we really are.
Right.
I think it's what we're all really looking for. And when we're creating peace in the environment, which is creating peace within, and when we're at peace, we take that out into the world, and that's transformative. That is
1000%.
Yeah, that's it. That in a nutshell. This is why I do what I do, that I am able to be really in people's sacred space. It's an honor to be in their space because we go deep and I learn things about people, but in that process, they get transformed and really go out and be who they really are in the world. And that for me is the gift.
I think what's fascinating is how much of it is subconscious, right? That I think we ourselves don't realize how we're decorating our home or what we're putting in our spaces is subconscious. It is a reflection of how we're feeling internally about ourselves. And what I picked up on from what you just said, I mean, even about the cacti, etc. But anyone's homes, I think if we just all go into our homes right now or our office environments, etc., we take a look at what's around. I think what we're looking at, right? What are we actually looking at in our spaces? What are we sitting on? What does the room look like? How is it decorated? Because that's how we feel. And how we're feeling then is a reflection of how we're going to be outside, right? But if we're feeling comfortable and we're feeling at peace with what we're looking at visually, what we're sitting in or sleeping in comfortably, how things are decorated, that's making us feel at peace or in anger or whatever it is, all the different emotions that can come up in the spaces that we're in, right? How we feel is again of how we're going to act out into the world and with others, right?
Yeah.
If we're feeling at comfort and at peace, then we're going to be at comfort and at peace in our external worlds.
Yeah. What you just said.
I love the psychology of Feng Shui, right? It's just, there's a deep psychology to it as well. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I was loving you summed it up beautifully. I couldn't, better than I could have done myself, but and I want to say it's funny because, the fact that I wanted to be a therapist or a psychologist all these years ago,
I caught on that
I wanted to be a teacher at one point, all got tied into the work that I do. It's full circle. It's deep. And I love how you summed it up. And I honor you for really seeing the power of Feng Shui and being able to reflect that back. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, as an energy worker myself, I really understand deeply the impact of energy and what that means. And I think that just as you are also a healer, I'm a healer, any of us that work with energy, any of us that consider ourselves healers, or those of us that want to really support others into finding their peace and really transform their lives. There are so many different modalities that are available to us out there, and that includes Feng Shui. And so thank you for honoring your calling to really dive deeper into this work and now taking it out there into the world. So thank you so much for that and for being you. In our last few seconds here, any last thoughts that you have? And please, once again, introduce your power hour to our audience so they can sign up for this powerful session with you.
Yeah, I just feel like you really summed it up beautifully, and that this is about living your best and fullest life, and you can do it through, as you say, through many modalities, but but definitely we're influenced by our environment, whether we know it or not. And it's
Absolutely.
very immediate, like it's right here, and it's available to us to actually make these kind of adjustments. So I think that's a really powerful message. Peace within, right? Peace without, peace everywhere. I think it's beautiful. So,
and I think, yeah, and I think another really important aspect is reducing your stress, which will improve your health, which will improve peace within. Right. So I think that anyone that's feeling out of sorts with themselves or out of alignment with themselves, please consider Feng Shui. Please consider working with Kate. Please contact her for her power hour. I think, and I know that it's going to be amazingly beneficial for you, for anyone that's looking to shift relationships, wealth, health, and understand more deeply how they can open up their space, how they can open up their energy, and really feel at peace and really live the life that they're wanting to live. So thank you, Kate, so much for being here. Thank you for being our guest. Thank you for the work that you do and for being a light in this world and promoting more peace and transformation. I love you. I honor you. Thank you.
Thank you. I love and honor you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, audience, for listening. I hope that you will reach out to Kate. We know that she does wonderful work. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Awaken Your Truth with me, RiTika Rose. I hope that you heard something today that sparked a shift in your perspective to free your mind, heal your life, and embody your power. The world needs love, acceptance, togetherness, and belonging. My hope is to be a contributing force towards the new world we need to create together. If each of us can awaken our truth and live with more empathy and authenticity, that shift will radiate. Spread the word and tune in next time for more conscious dialogues of healing and transformation on Transformation Talk Radio and Awaken Your Truth with RiTika Rose on YouTube and across all podcast stations. For more information about how to work with me, please visit RiTikaRose.com.